This is the Under the Ring Report.
This is Mick Foley. You are listening to the Under the Ring Report. And if you don't listen, so help me out. I'll laugh pretty damn loud. Have a nice day.
Now, here are the masters of armchair booking, John the Flesh Wound and Cousin Tom.
And welcome, wrestling fans, back again. It's another edition of the Under the Ring Report. Tom, how the hell are you today?
I am great. It's been a while.
Yeah, I guess you're actually enjoying like real spring weather, and unlike me, it's maybe like 39 right now. My furnace is still running, and it's going to be May 1st. What the hell is going on?
Yeah, something's wrong with that picture because I'm currently sitting at 80 degrees and bright and beautiful sunny Southern Illinois. So I think I'm on the plus side here.
You suck. That's all there is to it. Maybe we need to have like an Under the Ring Report shakeup. And you could just come here and hang out for a month in the crappy weather.
I don't think I could do it. Sorry. I'd have to have Charlotte Flair call in favors to keep me down here.
Woo! So that kind of goes to the point. It's been 3 weeks since the Superstar shakeup, what they call it now. They used to call it the draft, whatever the hell. But I guess we're finally at that point where maybe we're not going to see people moving anymore because, you know, Monday night we saw Gallows and Anderson show up on Raw. So it's like been 3 weeks. They just kind of slowly bring different people onto each show. So whatever that means. But looking out there, I mean, is there one person to you that you think will make a big difference on one of the other shows now that they've jumped?
Well, there's actually three.
Okay.
One's a tag team. So I think Styles on Raw is a good fit because he and Rollins are finally going to have a match together. Mm-hmm. That means something.
Does that mean, anyway, here's my question about Styles real quick. Does that mean he goes heel?
You know what? I liked him better when he went heel. When he first came back. Well,
beat up John Cena.
Yeah, when he had the whole beat up John Cena and Gallows and Anderson were with him. I liked that Styles. I thought he was an awesome champ for the last year. I mean, the guy doesn't have a bad match. I really can't say anything bad about him. I mean, love watching him in the ring other than, you know, he's gotten better on a mic, but we all know he's not a mic. He's not a talker. And that's not why you watch him. Because you're not, you know, when a guy like The Rock or somebody comes out, Paul Heyman, you're expecting a promo. Styles comes out, you just know you're going to watch a pretty fine match and be happy with it. So I'm excited for him. I think he's a good fit for Raw. He needs to be on Raw because if that's their flagship show, that's the type of guy you need on there.
Yeah. Okay.
My other pick, and why they did this. My other pick is the War Raiders, which are no longer the War Raiders. They were
the Viking Experience, the Viking War Raiders, the Who Gives a Shit.
Yeah. I mean, okay. Number one, those guys kick butt everywhere they've been since New Japan, Ring of Honor, everywhere they've been. NXT, fun to watch. They're amazing. There's a lot of people that haven't ever seen them, and this will be their first chance to get to know them. Why do you screw with the name? I don't know. That's McMahon for you, I guess.
Because I'm Vincent K. McMahon, and I'll do whatever I want.
It's because I own the company, and dang it. Nothing you touch is going to turn to gold unless I have my finger on it.
Listen here, pal. You're going to be a Viking.
Yeah, I mean, my God. You watch him at the NXT pay-per-views, and you got the whole crowd chanting war and just going crazy.
Yeah.
And now you got this. But anyways, that being said, those guys, I think, are going to turn some heads. I mean. Okay. But I don't know. Who do you think? You got anybody in mind?
Well, you know what? I think Roman Reigns being on SmackDown is big, especially with them making their way to being on Fox here real soon. So it also, I think, was a great thing to finally split Rollins and Reigns up. You know, because there's only so many times you can keep getting the brothers, the Shield brothers. You know what I mean?
Right,
Dean's gone now. So, you know what? Let's just cut it. because down the line, these two are going to have a battle at WrestleMania. We know that. That's down the line. But right now, let Roman be on his own. Let Rollins be on his own, see what they can do. And I think Reigns, I like right now that Reigns is kind of in a thing with Elias. And I think Elias has got the backing of the McMahon family, because for the long time, Elias is a guy people want to get behind, but WWE never quite figures out, is he a good guy? Is he a bad guy? You know what I mean? So many times they just...
Can you think of, how many matches with Elias can you think of that you have seen Elias in the last, let's say, 6 months? Like 3?
2 or
maybe?
3, yeah.
It's come out, do a super long promo. I mean, come on, guys.
Mm-hmm.
Does he need 10 minutes? I don't think he does. I like the gimmick. I like all of it. I just think it could be shortened up a little bit, because it starts to drag on for me, and then I'm just like, change the channel.
Well, that's why I'm glad he's on SmackDown, because right now they can hone that. And you know what? If they're going full heel with Elias, which is what he should have been from the start,
right?
I think him and Reigns can really put on some really good matches, and Reigns will help give him that good rub as a heel. And having the McMahons there with him fighting on their side, I think that could be the big showcase match for SmackDown for the next couple months.
Yeah, I agree. I'm all for getting him in the ring and building something, because it's hard to get behind something when they just tease you and tease you and tease you, and then they're just like, okay, on to the next thing in left field.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're left like, okay, are we ever going to see this guy like have an actual in-ring feud with somebody where it doesn't involve, just smashing a guitar or whatever prop they can throw at the guy, or just interrupting? I mean, come on, give us something to get behind.
Yeah. Man, they'll figure it out, I hope. The other person that I'm looking for big things this year is Lacey Evans. She's impressed me so far on Raw, and I'm kind of rooting for her to win the title over Becky, because you know what? Becky's shtick is getting real old real freaking quick. And I know people still like Becky Two-Belt, but you know what? She's really not that great on the mic. Unless she's got something where she really needs to work, she's not that good. And Lacey Evans, I am digging that character that she's playing, and I hope to see the Raw Championship around her. I think she could carry that brand.
Wow, you're hating on Becky.
I'm gonna hate on her, man. I'm gonna hate on her. You know what? I wasn't thrilled before. I haven't been on the Becky bandwagon since it started. I don't think she's great on the mic. I mean, seriously, someone needs to teach her a lesson like we do in radio. Like when you take a breath, turn away from the mic. You remember Chocolate Rain? I take a breath and take... as she gets more excited, she's like... I mean, seriously, if you count how many times she's taken a breath during a promo, stop it, Becky. That annoys... And I'm probably the only person that annoys, because considering I do this for a living, it annoys the hell out of me.
Yeah, you notice it more. You definitely would notice it more.
And so, I don't know. I'm not... all this, she's Stone Cold 2.0. No, she's not. Stone Cold had his phrases, and he knew what he was doing. You got the same 3 things you talk about. You keep talking about Ronda and all this stuff that happened 3 weeks ago. Who gives a shit? Move on. So that's me. I'm not a big Becky supporter.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm getting a good chuckle over here.
Mm-hmm.
She's hit some of your pressure points.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with her. She's a fine wrestler. I am not... I thought it was fine for the WrestleMania build-up, but I think her character lacks a lot of... I don't think her character's fully developed to me, personally. And she has the same crutch thing she uses in every interview and falls back on the same stuff all the time. And I felt that Lacey Evans has looked stronger, has been better on the microphone, and Charlotte is miles past her. We know that. Charlotte is the face of that women's division, no matter how you say it. And when it's all said and done, Charlotte will have that belt too. And I look forward to seeing Charlotte and Lacey Evans down the line, because I think that'll be a great match.
Yeah. Well, this goes back to stringing us along. I'm just glad that they finally did something with Lacey Evans besides trot her out, wave, put her back
Well, it
back
was
and forth.
all done on purpose because you know what?
Well, I know it was.
You don't start new storylines going into WrestleMania, but it was a good way to get her on TV and people talking about her.
Right. And it's just the old man impatience coming out in me.
My God, what's wrong with you?
Can we just get on with it? That's. I don't have time for this. I've got 20 episodes of Game of Thrones on DVR to speed through.
Well, whatever. Jeez Louise. The other thing that, truthfully, that I have, and I think everybody in the internet community has been jazzed up about, is Bray Wyatt. I mean, have you watched some of the vignettes he's done so far?
I have, and I hope to God this goes back to what I've been saying. Let it play out. Let it play out, please. Because I want to see is this going to be Pee-wee's Funhouse on sociopath steroids?
Oh my God. Last night on Twitter was the best. So after he does that, the word of the day, Matt Hardy's wife tweets out a video of King Maxwell saying the word of the day. Today's word is sociopath. And Bray Wyatt tweeted at them and said, I love you. Thank you so much. It was awesome.
That's what I'm talking about. Like, let it go. Let it ride. Because some of the best things that I can remember in the last 20 to 30 years of wrestling have been completely oddball, off-the-wall things. And that's why they're in my memory. Because it stands out.
The other thing about this that I like is, unlike a lot of times when they do kind of refreshen up a character, they forget all the backstory. I mean, that's one of the biggest complaints about WWE. You know what I mean? When they bring someone in, it's like they think they've zapped us with the little light zapper from Men in Black, and we forget everything. And for once, even though Bray Wyatt is supposedly different, there's a lot of callbacks. I mean, last night, when you're seeing the painting and of the house when Randy Orton burned it, you have all these callbacks. And he even does the little callbacks of how he was a bad man. And even the puppets with the witch and everything. I mean, it's all a callback to his original character. So
the witch is what? Abby?
Abby, yeah. So, I mean, it's all a callback to what he was before. And I've seen a lot of people talking about it. And one of the best, this was on Reddit, someone was talking, he said, to him, wouldn't it be awesome if what we're watching is really inside Bray's head and he's battling his good and bad side and this playhouse is in his head, even though he's really Bray. And I'm like, oh my God, it's so over the top. This could be one of the best characters ever if they let it play out.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. That's the theme. Let it play out so we can find out. I'm all for it. I mean, the other character ran its course. The Rock killed him at WrestleMania 2 years ago.
Well, it wasn't really his fault. It was piss poor writing because you know what?
Well, I'm not blaming him. I'm just saying
if they had done that the right way, he could have been the next Undertaker. That type of character, but they didn't know what to do with him. And that's the sad part about that character. And truthfully, he could still be that next Undertaker character because we don't know where the hell this thing's going.
No, but when you can walk out in an arena and all those lights go on and you got people humming your song and everything.
The whole world in his hands.
Yeah, and that's what he had. He had them all in the palm of his hands, and then they went and screwed it up. It's like, man, guys. How easy of a roadmap do you need?
I know.
You're praying that when a guy walks through that curtain, there's a reaction because the last thing you want is no reaction.
Yeah.
And then you have a reaction like that and you don't know what to do with the guy. Like, come on. You've got all that talent on that roster. You can't come up with something for him to do or work with.
But you know what? Yeah. He's not the first. And unfortunately, he won't be the last. But I'm just hoping that where this going, they decide to just let it play out because people are digging it. People are talking about it. It has potential because, there's so many things that could come into this? Because if you think about it, if it turns out that this is in his head, you know, who knows? Maybe Woken Matt Hardy comes back and, you know, does some things with him. Who knows? You don't know what's going to happen there because there's so many possibilities that could be attached to what this is. You know, could that fire thing be a sign that he's going to go after Randy Orton? You know, who knows? Because Randy Orton would have been the cause for the complete mental breakdown of Bray Wyatt, if you think about it.
Well, that's true. I guess we'll have to find out.
Mm-hmm. So what else? I mean, of all the other superstar changes that have happened, what else there is on your radar?
Well, I think it's interesting that they flipped. Well, I know they split Black and Ricochet up, which I knew they weren't going to leave them as a tag team.
Yeah,
they weren't a tag team to begin with. It was just a way to introduce the characters to the wider audience. Moving Bayley to SmackDown without Sasha.
Who's at home crying.
Yeah, she's still at home. Took her ball and went home because she's mad. You know, that's interesting.
By the way, Sasha, it's not real. They're predetermined. Jesus criminy.
You know, I was actually looking forward to, well, let me get the name right. Andrade. I was going to say Almas, but I know they keep changing names.
Yeah, they take last names away and screw with people.
Yeah. I was looking forward to him being on Raw. I was excited when I heard that he was going to Raw.
Yeah.
But now he's back on SmackDown, which, fine, whatever.
But it makes sense, too. I mean, it makes perfect sense that he's been pulled back over. Because, you know what, if the rumors out there that people were reporting, that was because Fox took a look and said, hey, you know, we need to have a big Latino star. And that makes sense for them. You know, you want to maximize your ratings any way possible.
And the number one women's wrestler who happens to be blonde and a flare also has a little say in there, too. But I don't want to spread rumors.
Whatever, man, whatever. But that also, you know what, truthfully, though, I'm glad that happened because, to be quite honest, it ended up, I think, helping Aleister Black. Because I think Aleister Black has a better chance of thriving on SmackDown than he ever would on Raw, personally.
Yeah, no, I agree. I like them splitting them up because I like both Black and Ricochet, but I didn't like them as a tag team.
No.
Just because I already knew, like, okay, this isn't going to last because, number one, Ricochet's never been a tag team anywhere he's went because he's too dynamic. You know, you make your other partner look bad.
Oh, yeah.
With the crap that he does in the ring. You know, he's one that I'm looking forward to more people getting to witness. I mean, we've been watching him for years when he was Lucha Underground and New Japan, everywhere else, under Prince Puma and all the other names he's had. But now to get even more exposure for him is a good thing, and he's just going to blow people's minds, especially this next Money in the Bank ladder match. I mean, the NXT ladder matches he did things that I'd never seen before. So I can just imagine what's going to happen next.
The other things I look at, it'll be interesting to see what they do with Robert Roode.
And his mustache.
I'm not quite sure what that is, but who knows? You know what? I'm glad they broke that tag team up because Robert Roode, Bobby, whatever you want to call him, he offers a kind of a veteran presence that would be perfect as a heel. And I think he will help out with guys that he's worked with before, because when you got AJ and Samoa Joe coming back to Raw, those guys worked together for years in TNA, so they could do some amazing things together. Other than that, I'm just trying to think of anybody that really, I mean, the tag division was changed up quite a bit. You know, the Usos and all these guys, the breakup of Cesaro and Sheamus.
Yeah,
kind of odd.
The bar is broken.
You know, I don't know if that's because Sheamus is hurt worse than had been originally the plan or what, but that's kind of interesting too.
Well, and the Usos coming to Raw, I think, is a good thing for them.
Yeah, they need to.
They've ran their course with the New Day. I mean, you really can't do much more else.
Well, and you've got two tag
teams.
teams that people like, and it's hard to have two face teams always going at each other. And I think the other thing too is Gallows and Anderson getting moved to Raw helped them because their time in SmackDown was not good for them at all.
No, they've continually seemed to get buried, which is too bad because they're too good a team to just get buried, and they make them do stupid crap, which I've never liked. But
maybe they get back together with AJ. I mean, that was when they were at their best, and I think, as you said, if AJ could go heel, they have to be there with him because I think the three of them together as the club can wreak a lot of havoc on Raw.
Oh yeah, a lot better than just them yelling nerd and whatever, Anderson showing off his 6-pack or whatever, his 8-pack, whatever it was he was doing for a while. I mean, my God, I felt so bad for those. Here you got two guys that have been all over the world that have won titles. They go to WrestleMania and they get their names wrong in the program.
yeah, that's pretty much how it goes.
Yeah, but it's like, okay, now that's
could have been worse, man. Biscuits and gravy.
Oh God, it's one of the worst ones ever. Yeah. Don't remind Vince that that'll be happening again.
All right, well, so that's kind of both our thoughts on what's been going on with the Superstar Shakeup. And this last weekend, I know I talked about it a few weeks ago, but ACW's WaterCity WrestleCon took place in Oshkosh, Wisconsin. And
how was that?
You know what? I've told you this before, but you really need to think about making a trip up here. Because
I saw some photos and it looked like a good time.
I mean, well, here's the thing, it's held in the Milwaukee Bucks D-League team arena. All right.
Okay.
Last year they pulled 2,500 people into an independent show. That's damn good for it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty good numbers.
This year they brought in Mick Foley, Mark Henry. They brought in Big Cass. They brought in Johnny Impact. And by the way, I got to hold the Impact belt, which was freaking awesome. Shane Douglas and Francine was also there. And Mick Foley's daughter, Noelle, and Frank the Clown was there. So there you go.
And then did I see Gangrel was there too?
Totally forgot about Gangrel. Sorry about that. But yes,
Well, I saw a photo or something.
Yes, Gangrel was there also. So it was a really good time. The matches were put together well. My wife bought her first wrestling shirt ever.
What? Whoa. Hold up. We need to rewind. Say that again.
So last year in the $5,000 over-the-top battle royal, all right, her first real wrestling event she'd ever been to, probably since she was in college and saw Hulk Hogan in like the late 80s, early 90s, okay? That's been a long time. So there's a guy, and his name is Levi Yoder, and his gimmick is he's an Amish farm boy, okay?
All right, gotcha.
And so she thought that was cool as hell, and she cheered on Levi Yoder. Hell, I had her on the show. She talked about how cool he was. So there you go. So we go there this year. Levi's there, and he's got T-shirts that he's selling. So she buys a Levi Yoder T-shirt, and it was so cool. He wrapped the T-shirt up with twine. And she thought that was she goes, that's a nice touch. He's doing the gimmick the right way. And
living the gimmick.
So there you go. So she cheered on Levi. Unfortunately, he didn't win. But, so she's a big fan of Levi Yoder. She has the T-shirt now.
That's awesome. That is awesome.
But that's the thing that I dig is these guys in Oshkosh with ACW have kind of a cult following. A lot of the people that wrestle there are from the area, so they know them. And there's family there. There's friends that went to high school with them, so they cheer these kids on. And I think that's pretty cool because I've been to a lot of independent shows. And you know what? You get to some of these shows, you feel bad. If you're not a former star, then a lot of times you're just left wrestling while people sit on their hands. And to everyone's credit there, it didn't matter, man. They cheered on everyone. They booed Frank the Clown because that could be expected. But, Mick Foley came out. He did the Mr. Sacco and even said right here in Oshkosh, Wisconsin, which got a big pop. And, oh, yeah. But every match was great. And even to see Johnny Impact actually won the ACW title, which was cool as hell, too. So that means he'll be back to defend that later on.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, and it was pretty much an all-day affair. The doors open at 4, and at 4:30 they start signing autographs and do all that. So for about 3 hours or so, 7 o'clock the actual matches start, and then they go till about 11. So it's an all-day affair, but it's fun as hell. So it'll be interesting, and it'll be interesting to see what they do next year. But I would guess, looking at the crowd, they were just as big as last year. They may hit close to 3,000 this time. I hope they do. But it just keeps growing.
Impressive, I will say.
Well, because, most of these shows are like Bingo Hall, some smaller venues that don't hold a lot of people.
Yeah. I've been to a couple independent shows here around my area, and the last one I went to was at the Elks Lodge.
Yeah.
And I went to meet Road Warrior Animal. He was there.
Yep.
So, so it might have seated 150 people. Mm-hmm. To give you an idea.
Yeah.
And I've went to a local high school. They were doing the local independent promotion was actually doing a fundraiser. There's a lady from the area that has stage 4 cancer with 3 small kids. Mm-hmm. So all the proceeds from the show were going to go to her and her family. And her sister-in-law actually trained to get in the ring to wrestle in one of the main event matches.
Nice.
And so that high school gymnasium was packed, but it might have been 800 people.
Yeah, not much.
Yeah, one of the school superintendents from the area, Pinckneyville, he's a tag team wrestler. He wrestles at all the independent shows.
Uh-huh.
So if you're a kid at Pinckneyville, your school superintendent and principal are tag team, and they wrestle on weekends for,
that's fun.
For fun. So
that's awesome.
But I mean,
that's what I look at these guys. You know what they're doing? I would venture to guess they probably do about 8 shows a year. Okay. And most of these are at the Masonic Temple. They do a big show in the streets in the Wisconsin Dells on the 4th of July weekend. Last year they did one there. Tommy Dreamer was there. And so they do a big thing there. And a lot of the talent is all over the place, too. So you've got them feeding in multiple federations. So these guys are starting to get a name for themselves because people see them. But you know what? They kind of build up to this big WrestleCon. This is their WrestleMania, per se. So it's nice to see everybody come out and get involved. There were people cosplaying. There was a group of people dressed up as the Oddities. This girl had actually taken the time, and she had completely replicated all of Luna Vachon's tattoos all over. And a guy had the what the hell was his Golga?
Oh.
Golga, he had the mask and everything. And yeah, there was even a guy dressed up as an Insane Clown Posse guy. There was another dude cosplaying as Roddy Piper. A lot of Mick Foley's. There was a little kid walking around who had thumbtacks nailed into the back of his sweatshirt. So
there's the mom for that one.
Oh yeah. So it was a lot of fun. I mean, my wife enjoyed it. Like I said, she's not a big wrestling fan, but she actually enjoys going to this. I mean, Mark Henry was like, when we got up to get my photo taken with him, he asked her, he goes, "Do you want your photos?" She goes, "Oh no." She goes, "I'm just here for the photos." He's like, "You came here just to help him?" He goes, "Oh, dude, she's a good one."
Oh, yeah. You better listen to him.
Yep. But no, like I said, it was a lot of fun. And you know what? The biggest thing, too, I can tell you is prices for these things to get who you want and talk to who you want. Those local things are so much better sometimes than the big cons. I mean, I think about StarCast, and you know what? For what you spent for us to get an autograph and photo with Rey Mysterio, I actually had photos with 4 people and actually an autograph from Mick Foley for the same price.
Yeah, you can't beat that.
No. It was a good time. And like I said, I had planned just to do photos, but my wife said, you want an autograph from him too. So, and Big Cass was great. He was very, he came out there, busted his ass, and just, had a good time with the crowd. And, I hope the guy does well. I think he could do well because him and Enzo, they're probably some of the most over guys. And if with those guys working together, I think they could be big again. I hope they work out.
Yeah, I'm hoping my luck turns out better. I seem to always miss the good local shows with work.
Well, like I said, man, put on your calendar towards the end of April. Maybe you just meet me. Maybe we stop. Maybe we meet in Milwaukee for a Brewer game or something, and then we drive up the next day and go see the show. Because I'll tell you what, depending who they bring, I still kick myself for missing Bret Hart the first year. But it's cool. They got a nice thing going on. It's nice to know it's only an hour and 20 minutes from my house.
Yeah, that's good. I love hearing it because that's how you get major talent is the indies.
Oh, hell yeah.
As much as WWE wants to bash the indies is what feeds their programs.
Well, I mean, if you're a former talent, you're going to make money on the indies. And most of those guys that show up, by the way, I have to give credit to Gangrel because him and Nathan Gust, they put on a hell of a match. They did a Vampires Ball match. And probably one of the best matches of the night. And so I got to give Gangrel a lot of props for that, and Nathan both. Those guys put on a hell of a match. And the main event was really good, too. So there you go.
Well, sounds like a good time.
It was, man. It was. Too bad you missed out on your shot down there in your neck of the woods.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah, this is it was CCW Super Show. This is their third Super Show. And I don't know the number of fans they pulled in down there for an indie show, but they had SCU in the building. Joey Ryan was a surprise. They didn't announce Joey Ryan, but he showed up during the show. Last year they had Flip Gordon and Hangman Page.
Yep.
They continue to have big numbers and draw in talent. Just things happen where I couldn't get away, and I just kicked myself because, knowing them, I'm within a little over an hour drive one way to get there, and couldn't do it. But
yeah,
things like that happen. But I follow, I follow along, see what's going on, and I'll make up for it sooner or later.
I got to make a trek, I think, to Wisconsin Rapids this year because Jimmy Hart's coming to one of the minor league baseball teams here, and he'll be there. So I'll have to go see the
man that never ages.
Go see the Colonel, see how he's doing. All right, man. Well, I guess that'll do it for this week's show. Check us out on Twitter, UTRR Podcast, and also on Facebook. And I'll try and get more photos up on Instagram, too. And we'll talk to you next time here on the Under the Ring Report.
Follow the Under the Ring Report on Twitter at UTRR Podcast. You can subscribe to the Under the Ring Report on iTunes, Google Play, and Stitcher, or visit undertheringreport.com. Thanks for listening to the Under the Ring Report.